Welcome back to the deep dive. You sent us just a remarkable stack of source material this time around. This session, it felt less like an adventure and more like an emotional earthquake, really.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It was just this incredible narrative whiplash.
Exactly. We're talking about these massive breakthroughs, both tactical and arcane, that were then, immediately followed by this breathtaking, catastrophic betrayal that just completely resets the entire mission.
It really is. They managed to achieve, total success in the field. They mastered an entirely new magical discipline in, a matter of hours. And they solved the central mystery they had been carrying for weeks. But then to have the entire effort just undermined, their core victory stolen by the one person they implicitly trusted, it's devastating.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to really unpack the weight of Session 14. We're going to track the team through the blighted, chaotic ruins of Thunder Tree. We'll look at their combat successes, that intellectual pivot they made to master alchemy, the huge moment they solved the puzzle box, and then the devastating second a trusted mentor reveals her true agenda.
And leaves one of them just publicly exposed by their own rage. It's a lot.
It is. So just to set the context for everyone, the party is deep inside the ruins of Thunder Tree, and they're working with this half-elf druid, Radith.
Right, and their immediate task, the practical one, is to stop this horrifying spread of corrupted plant lice, these twig blights and the ash zombies that are, creeping towards Phandalin.
So they're juggling this crucial disaster relief effort while also trying to solve the deeper mysteries of that puzzle box and, of course, the ever-present threat of the black spider.
It's a lot of plates to keep spinning at once.
It really is. Okay, let's start with the setting, because Thunder Tree is, it's much more than just some overgrown ruins, isn't it? It's an active threat zone.
Oh, completely. The session kicks off with Radith, the druid, pulling them into his shelter to get them away from this terrifying screeching and banging coming from deeper in the ruins.
Smart move.
Yeah. He knows that before they can fight, they have to understand what they're actually up against.
And he gives them the full tragic backstory of the town. I love this part with the magical dust illusion that just brings the whole disaster to life.
It's great world building, yeah. And it's critical context. So 30 years ago, Mount Hope now erupts. A huge geological catastrophe. The point he makes is that it didn't just destroy the town with fire and ash.
No, the real horror was the magical fallout.
Exactly. The sheer volume of volcanic ash, maybe compounded with some dark magic or, the dragon's presence, it created this environment where the unburied dead just transformed. They became those tireless, volatile ash zombies. It's a localized, ongoing plague.
A plague state. I like that. And it wasn't just the dead, it was the plants, too.
Right. The supernatural corruption of the flora, which is what created the twig blights. And Radith gives them that critical, time-sensitive context.
Yeah.
The blight is actively spreading. It's moving towards Phandalin.
So if they don't intervene now, this threat goes from a contained problem to, widespread contamination. It's a direct threat to innocent people.
And that's why the stakes feel so immediate. This isn't just about finding some treasure or gaining glory. It's about drawing a hard line in the volcanic ash against a real existential threat to the nearest town.
We also get that quick but really important dragon recap. Radith confirms the green dragon, Venom Fang, was there, but he got driven out by the much more powerful white dragon, Cryovane.
Who then, confusingly, vanished during a recent storm, and his absence is maybe the single most critical factor making Thunder Tree so dangerous right now.
How so?
Well, dragons, even the chaotic, hostile ones, they impose a certain brutal order on their territory. They're apex predators. They keep lesser threats in check just by being there.
Right.
So when Cryovane disappeared, the other supernatural threats, the blights, the zombies, they just intensified dramatically.
Nature abhors a vacuum. Or in this case, accursed nature abhors a vacuum. When the power structure collapses, the darkness just rushes right in to fill that void.
Precisely. The biggest bully on the playground was gone, so all the smaller, more persistent threats suddenly had free rein to organize and spread.
So the mission is crystal clear. Cleanse the ruins to protect Phandalin. Radith even offers a tangible reward, a high-quality healing potion.
And we see Pleb step in right away to heal Imogen before they even begin, just making sure they're going into this incredibly high-risk environment at, full strength.
A really smart preventative move. In a place this unpredictable, you can't afford to start at anything less than 100%.
Absolutely not.
Which brings us to the first tactical choice I really want to dig into, They decide to split the party.
Ah.
They need to cover ground more efficiently, so they establish hooty-hoo as their emergency call sign. Now, you know the old saying, never split the party. Given everything Redith just told them, was this a smart move or just arrogant?
I get the hesitation. I mean, objectively, it's always dangerous.
Yeah.
But you have to look at their motive, which was time efficiency. They weren't hunting a single big monster. They were doing area clearance.
A contamination sweep.
Exactly. They needed to maximize their coverage to get ahead of that spreading corruption. So this move, it highlights that they're prioritizing the mission's scope over their immediate personal safety. It's a bold calculation, for sure. Risky, but calculated.
I can see that. They're acting more like a rapid response unit than a traditional adventuring party.
Right.
And Group 1, that's Valindra, Turin, and Ohio, they immediately run into that classic risk-reward scenario. They head to a roofless house, and Ohio falls straight through the weak floorboards.
A perfect example of the environment itself being a hazard. But here's the payoff, right? The fall inadvertently reveals something the broken floorboards were hiding.
A hidden chest.
A hidden chest, filled with hundreds of copper, silver, and gold pieces.
It's like tripping over a winning lottery ticket while you're trying to run away from quicksand.
Exactly. It just reinforces this idea that real exploration sometimes requires you to be vulnerable. If Ohio hadn't taken that, accidental risk, they would have never found that treasure. Exploration, even when it's clumsy, pays off in a place like this.
While they're down there, they also spot a bush moving suspiciously, clearly a twig blight, but they decide to just leave it for now.
And that's a strong sign of tactical discipline. They're there to stop the spread, not get bogged down in every little skirmish. They have limited time, limited energy, and a clear objective from Redith. Avoiding that minor fight tells me they are mentally preparing for a much bigger engagement to come.
That sets the stage perfectly for the real test. Let's shift over to Group 2.
Right, so Group 2 is Plep, Imogen, and Lyra. And they approach what the notes vividly call the arachnid den.
This wasn't just a house with a few cobwebs, was it?
Oh no. It was a structure completely encased in thick, dense spider webs. They stretched across the street, connected to nearby trees. It was this intricate, massive, and very dangerous network.
It sounds like a living defense system. So how did they even begin to approach something like that?
Well, Jalep takes point. He very wisely checks the structure first, pokes the webs with a stick, feels the vibrations ripple through the whole silk network.
Basic reconnaissance.
Smart. It's critical. He's understanding the integrity of the hazard before they just rush in. And then Imogen uses her fire magic to burn a small, precise opening.
That's a huge risk. Fire in a ruined wooden building.
It's incredibly volatile, but it was necessary. Plep slips inside, spots the giant spiders, and immediately calls the hooty-hoo signal.
Yeah.
That brings the rest of the party running to back them up.
And the fight that follows is really defined by one central mechanic, isn't it? Immobility.
Completely. The giant spiders, their main tactic is to deploy these restraining webs. They trap Gillip and Lyra instantly. The notes describe them as incredibly adhesive and debilitating. So right away, two key combatants are just neutralized.
And that forces the rest of the group to fight defensively from the get-go.
It does, and Plep, being resourceful, he uses his shape-shifting ability to turn into a wolf. It's a strategic shift, right?
Right.
He's trying to gain both mobility and a combat advantage against these huge spiders.
At the same time, Valindra arrives, responding to the signal.
Right on time. She provides crucial support with radiant bolts and a spiritual weapon, which kind of justifies their risky decision to split up earlier if she hadn't been close by.
It could have gone very differently, but this is where the ruins show their layers, just as they start getting the spiders under control.
The blight threat escalates. Vine blights emerge from hiding, using grasping roots and thorny vines to immobilize multiple party members again. They didn't just walk into a spider nest. They walked into a sophisticated combined arms trap, engineered by the corrupted land itself.
And this relentless cycle of being trapped, of being immobilized, this is what triggers the psychological breaking point for Turin.
Yes, this is where we see just raw emotional trauma erupt into physical power.
Right.
Turin, repeatedly trapped, unable to move, unable to connect to the enemy, he just becomes incandescently frustrated.
Well, he's a frontline fighter. His entire purpose is to engage, to be the shield and the axe. When that agency is taken away from him again and again by these clinging vines, it has to lead to this profound feeling of uselessness.
That perceived helplessness is the trigger. He enters a full barbarian rage, but the source material is clear. This isn't some tactical deployment of power. This is raw, boiling frustration overriding all discipline. It really highlights the unique psychological toll of fighting an enemy that just keeps taking away your ability to act.
His rage is a direct response to the pain of feeling completely futile.
Exactly. And while Turin is having this inner battle, Valindra is proving to be incredibly effective against the new threat, the vine blights.
She uses necromantic magic, right, a withering force.
And it's devastatingly effective. This is a critical magical principle being confirmed right here in the field. Necromancy, it deals with life force, with decay, with entropy.
Yeah.
These blights are, technically alive, but they're corrupted. They're pushed into this unnatural hypergrowth by dark magic.
So using necromancy is like aggressively speeding up their natural decay process.
It's the perfect counter magic for this environmental curse. She's essentially weaponizing the natural law of death and decay against this supernatural corruption that shouldn't exist.
It's the right tool for the right job. It shows this incredibly sophisticated understanding of like the arcane physics of this world. It's not just brute force.
Not at all. It's strategic magic.
So after the combat, they find the tragic leftovers of a previous adventurer. A drained corpse in a silk cocoon, some potions, some coin.
But the real treasure, and the most ironic one, is found by Turin himself. After his explosive rage triggered by these plant monsters, he discovers a rusty, ancient, dwarven battle axe. It's named Hugh.
I can't get over the irony of this. It's almost too perfect. He has his worst emotional breakdown because of plants, and his immediate reward is the literal anti-plant weapon.
It's a beautifully appropriate narrative moment, isn't it? Turin's rage was triggered by feeling useless against the very thing the enemy was doing, the immobilizing vines. So his reward, this axe Hugh, it's a physical manifestation of his regained agency. It is the guaranteed solution to the very thing that just caused his psychological breaking point.
It ensures he will never be useless against plant monsters ever again.
He now has both the motivation and the means.
And beyond the axe, they get a pretty substantial financial reward too. Hundreds of silver and gold pieces, plus these 4 ornate silver goblets set with valuable moonstones. It rounds out a really successful, if brutally exhausting, delve.
A very high-stakes, high-reward operation. And this success, it sets the stage for the tremendous intellectual pivot that comes next.
It's amazing, isn't it, how quickly they shift gears from, Turin raging with an axe and Valindra slinging necromancy to becoming arcane manufacturers.
This transition is so important. The party explores an old apothecary building and finds something remarkable, a mystical laboratory.
And the description of the setup is key. There's a cauldron that glows and bubbles with this supernatural energy, but there's no fire underneath it.
Right. And what that implies is sustained, internally powered magical manufacturing. This isn't just, fire and herbs. This is a permanent fixture of arcane energy that requires precise knowledge, not constant tending.
And surrounding this magical cauldron are shelves stacked with alchemical ingredients and, most importantly, recipe books filled with riddles.
This is where they have to shift from pure exploration to applied scholarship. They have to engage in the ancient art of formulaic magic. It's not a shopping list. They have to match these poetic ingredient descriptions to the actual components. It's all about deduction, synthesis, and understanding the esoteric properties of what they're working with.
They're using their brains to create magical power deliberately, and they get good at it fast. They produce 4 highly specialized potions.
And let's break these down because they seem to be creating solutions for problems they literally just encountered.
Absolutely. The first one is a healing potion. Pretty standard, restores health, offers poison resistance, a good foundational success.
Then they make a liberation potion. Now, given what they just went through with the spiders and the vines, this is an immediate practical lesson learned and applied. This potion removes debilitating conditions. It restores agency. They are proactively addressing the most crippling threat they just faced.
The third one is fascinating. A transformation potion, which grants incorporeal movement. That's a game changer for scouting, for stealth. It lets them just bypass physical barriers.
Intelligence gathering made easy. And finally, they make a combat enhancement potion. It adds fire damage to attacks and grants fire resistance.
Which is brilliant for the Thunder Tree environment. Fire is great against wood-based blights, and resistance is crucial when you're dealing with, any kind of lingering fire or explosive magic.
What this collection signifies is that the party has fundamentally shifted from just finding magical items to creating specific magical solutions tailored to their immediate needs and past failures. They've essentially set up a mobile, arcane logistics pipeline.
It's the difference between being a scavenger and being a scientist.
Yes, That's a great way to put it.
And all this intellectual momentum carries them right into the climax of their long-running side quest, solving that mysterious puzzle box.
All the mental effort, all the previous sessions spent gathering these fragmented clues, it all culminates here. They figure out the code word.
VARMS.
Vaults. The box opens, and inside, they find the real prize. A key with actual visibly working gears inside of it. It's not just a simple flat key, it's a miniature, intricate clockwork mechanism.
And we have to spend a moment on this key. This is a major breakthrough in their quest against the Black Spider. The sheer intricacy of it, the gears, it suggests this doesn't open a simple door.
No, this key is for a mechanism of immense clockwork complexity. If the key itself is that complicated, the lock must be something monumental. It's not just a lock, it's an integrated system.
Which raises the stakes dramatically. They now hold the access card to a secret of unimaginable magnitude, possibly the Black Spider's entire endgame.
And that triumph mastery of alchemy, solving the puzzle, possessing the geared key, it lasts for all of 5 seconds before it is instantly, brutally shattered.
Yeah, this is where the whole thing just descends into tragedy. Nezza, the Drow warrior who'd been scouting, reappears at the exact moment of their success.
And it's crucial to remember her role. She'd recently joined them, she fought bravely alongside them, she endured terrible wounds from the Red Brands. The party saw her as an ally. She saved Turin's life.
But she instantly reveals her true allegiance, the Black Spider, and she gives them an ultimatum.
With this air of desperation, she explains that the Black Spider is holding her family hostage, and he demands the key in exchange for their lives.
It's a masterstroke of villainy by the Black Spider. Not brute force, but leverage. They didn't target a resource, they targeted a personal bond, familial love. They force a moral dilemma that is almost impossible for decent people to refuse.
And the personal sting of it for Imogen is just immense, even before the deeper truth comes out. Nezza claims she has been Imogen's magical mentor, her trainer. She basically raised her, developed her abilities.
This isn't some stranger betraying them. This is the weaponization of a foundational, almost parental relationship.
Think about the weight of that. The person who guided your entire magical development, the person you trusted to teach you control, is now standing in front of you, a pawn of your ultimate enemy, using your shared history as emotional blackmail.
So the party faces this impossible choice. Give up the key, the culmination of their entire quest, to potentially save Nezza's family or protect the mission and condemn innocent people.
And despite the obvious strategic risk, despite knowing she's compromised and working for the enemy, they vote to give her the key.
Let's pause on that, because it's an incredible act of compassion, but looking back, was it just strategically naive? They gave up the ultimate secret based on the word of a known agent of their greatest enemy?
You're hitting the core of the conflict. It was morally courageous and strategically disastrous. But that choice, it speaks volumes about their character. They prioritize saving potential innocents, even the family of their betrayer, over their own strategic advantage. They chose empathy over victory.
And Nezza immediately makes them pay for that empathy. She uses powerful magic and just teleports away with the key.
Their compassion was repaid with betrayal. The theft is confirmed, and the party is left reeling, completely stripped of their triumph. And the fallout is instantaneous and catastrophic, especially for Imogen.
The moment Nezza vanishes, Imogen gets a devastating vision, and it reveals a deeper, much more painful truth.
The truth is so much worse than a simple betrayal under duress. Nezza hadn't just been training Imogen and then got coerced. No, Nezza had been actively manipulating and repeatedly memory wiping her during training.
Why?
Because she was terrified of Imogen's full, innate magical potential, her wild magic.
Oh, wow.
So this elevates the betrayal from a strategic setback to a profound personal violation that has been going on for years.
Yeah.
Nezza wasn't just a pawn. She was this terrified guardian trying to contain something she herself helped create. She actively weakened and controlled Imogen, not just for the spider, but because she feared the raw power inside her own student.
So the betrayal is doubly deep. It's the strategic failure, but it's compounded by this systematic violation of her psychological autonomy. The person who should have been her greatest ally was actually her long-term jailer.
And that realization that her entire past, her training, was a lie designed to contain her true self, it fills Imogen with this uncontrollable, explosive rage. A rage born of violation, confusion, and just overwhelming powerlessness.
And we see the immediate uncontrolled consequences. Imogen is tied to wild magic, and this emotional turmoil triggers a catastrophic, very public surge.
When she loses control, reality itself bends to her emotional state. It broadcasts her inner chaos for everyone to see.
And the consequence is just supernatural humiliation on a cosmic scale. The cliffhanger is that for the next 2 weeks, all clouds in the sky will appear as images of Imogen in various compromising and ridiculous situations.
It takes the idea of emotional feedback to the absolute extreme. Her intense rage and humiliation at being manipulated for years. It isn't just internal, it's broadcast across the heavens for everyone in the region to witness. It is a constant public reminder of what Nezza did, of her own loss of control. It's a literal manifestation of her shame on a planetary canvas.
So where does this leave them? They went from being genius alchemists who solved the grand puzzle to being utterly stripped of their core achievement and suffering this immediate, personalized, very public defeat.
It means the Black Spider understands that the fastest way to defeat a powerful group isn't always through a direct fight. It's through psychological leverage, weaponized relationships, misplaced trust,
Nezza used her deep personal connection to Imogen as a weapon.
proving that the Black Spider's influence extends into the closest, most private relationships of his opponents. And the vulnerability of giving up a crucial resource, that geared key to save a loved one, is just laid bare. They made the morally right choice, and they paid the ultimate strategic price for it.
The cost of empathy was the mission.
Exactly. And now, they don't just have to deal with the loss of the key, they have to deal with the psychological fallout. Imogen's humiliation is profound and persistent. That 2-week cloud display is a constant taunt, making sure she can't forget Nezza's betrayal or the fact that her deepest trauma was instantly turned into a public spectacle.
The emotional core of this is just overwhelming. Discovering that the person who guided you was actively weakening you out of fear, that fundamentally reshapes Imogen's identity. She now knows her power is terrifyingly real, but also dangerously uncontrollable.
And it raises a difficult question for the group going forward. How do they ever trust anyone new again? Nezza fought by their side. She endured torture for them right up until the Black Spider pushed the one button that mattered. Her family. It sets this dangerous paranoid precedent. Anyone could be compromised.
And let's go back to the object itself, the geared key. The Black Spider has it now.
Precisely. If the puzzle box needed the word vaults and contained a key that is basically a miniature clockwork device, whatever it unlocks must be monumental, maybe a literal vault or a clockwork gate to another plane. And the Black Spider now possesses the ultimate means of access.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to mull over. We know the key is with the Black Spider. We also know Nezza, who seemed driven purely by saving her family, was also terrified of Imogen's wild magic. This suggests she was a double agent twice over a pawn of the spider and a self-appointed guardian trying to suppress her student.
Right.
So, what specific power or promise of safety did the Black Spider offer Nezza that made her prioritize her family over her mentor duties? And more terrifyingly, what deeper control or interest did the Black Spider have in Imogen that Nezza was trying to suppress with those memory wipes? Nezza wasn't just coerced, she was a participant in a long-term scheme of magical suppression, and now the Black Spider has both the key and the knowledge of how to contain Imogen's unstable power.
That knowledge combined with the key to the realities. That means the threat level just went from a localized problem to a potential world-ending crisis. And that, unfortunately, is a deep dive for another time.